For more on this, we're joined by Bharath Reddy. He's a fellow on high tech at the Takshashila Institution. Welcome back to the programme, Bharath. Now, can American AI labs maintain these aggressive cuts without severely sacrificing their research budgets and profit margins?
So I maybe push back against that because the pricing cuts that we see are partly as a result of just a lot of optimizations. The technology is getting cheaper as we go. So part of the reason for the technology, I mean, the token prices falling is that there are genuine improvements in mixture of experts models and inference costs generally getting cheaper, right? So that's one, and can they sustain it? So a part of the revenue that funds future research is from inference on the current models that are deployed, but the rest of it comes from, say, VC investments and the confidence that investors have in the business models of these companies. So that is. We need to wait and watch how viable are these business models, and can they sustain the burn rate that they have going on. So those are the things. But the Chinese companies releasing open weight models is definitely one of the main factors that's caused them to cut down these inference costs, and it is hurting their business model as well. Definitely putting pressure on them.
So with rising energy costs making computing power increasingly expensive in the US, do Chinese AI developers like Deepseek and Moonshot hold a permanent advantage in offering cheaper rates?
So power is definitely cheaper, and China definitely has an advantage in building out this infrastructure, whether it's solar panels or other components that go into the power infrastructure. I think China has an advantage there, and power is subsidized; it's cheaper in China. But power is just one of the components that goes into the input costs of delivering AI services, right? So it's a small fraction of the cost as well. So a lot of the infrastructure build out, or the expenses that go into building and deploying AI, are actually in building these massive data centers, procuring the chips that are required to deliver these things. So the chips, the memory, all of these are actually the training costs that are required to deploy it, and power is one factor over there. So if China does have an advantage there, but Chinese models being delivered on Chinese servers also have a trust component. You see that global customers are willing to deploy it on Chinese servers. That's still something that we need to wait and watch. So you see that with open weight models, Chinese AI companies are releasing these models, but you still see that they are being deployed and run on cloud service providers, which might be based out of the US or all over the world, right? So it's not still the Chinese servers that are running these models. So the power being cheaper in China, I don't know if that really makes a difference in the bigger scheme of things.
And we mentioned the falling token prices. Are we moving towards a commoditization phase in AI where cutting edge capabilities are no longer enough to command premium pricing?
Yeah, there is a pricing pressure on these models there, but we see that the frontier models still command a premium price tag, whether that's Fable 5 or other models from other labs. They still have a significant price difference over the other models. And to some extent, we see that there is a commoditization of the model layer, but there's also a movement of value from the model layer to the agentic harness, where models are being used to perform actions based on data that they can access, autonomous actions based on this. And in that kind of a situation, you need a lot of maturity of these systems. You need a lot of trust to ensure that the data is transferred, it's retained in a certain way, it performs a certain action. And all of that also matters. And in the agentic harness layer, you still see that proprietary systems by frontier labs such as OpenAI or Anthropic still have an advantage over the open ecosystem that is out there. So for now, at least for these tasks, the US labs still have an advantage. But we'll need to see as the open ecosystem matures. You will see that also getting bridged, and we'll have to see how much of how much of that value who's able to capture.
Bharath Reddy from the Takshashila Institution. Great to have your insights. Thank you.
Thank you.